I, 24M, enjoy my job and have two coworkers, Megan, 25F, and our new coworker James, 23M, who just started. The three of us each have our own office space, but because we have to frequently collaborate on work throughout the day, we are often at each other's desks. I am a type 1 diabetic. I give insulin and check my blood sugar throughout the day as needed. I give insulin through a pump, so that's not an issue. Checking my blood sugar involves pricking my finger to draw a drop of blood. The blood gets sucked up into a test strip that is connected to a glucose meter, and the meter displays the reading. The whole process takes like 10 seconds. I was checking my blood sugar in my office right when James walked over. Immediately, his face went white. He looked like he was about to puke or faint, or maybe both. I was like, "Dude, are you okay?" He told me that he has a major blood and needle phobia and gets therapy for it. I explained what I was doing and why it was necessary, and he said it's freaky that I have to make myself bleed multiple times a day. He told me he never wants to accidentally walk in on me checking my blood sugar again because he could pass out. I said that if I'm checking my blood sugar and hear him coming over, I can call out a warning like, "Give me a sec." He said that won't work. Just knowing that I'm doing that just before he comes over is enough to freak him out, and that he would be stressed that I might not hear him walking over. He told me I should check it in the bathroom from now on. I told him that I don't think I should have to do that and it's unsanitary. He said another option was if I only check my blood sugar at certain times, say 9 a.m., 12 p.m. before eating lunch, and 4 p.m., that way he'd know when to avoid me. I said these things can't always be predicted. I'll need to check if I feel my blood sugar going high or low. He said he understands that I have diabetes, but that he also has a special need, his blood phobia, that needs to be accommodated, and that he doesn't want to have to avoid me at work and only talk to Megan for fear he might see me checking again. He said he'll talk to HR about this and that he'll tell them that I refuse to compromise with him. That was last Thursday before the holidays. Tomorrow I'm thinking of going to talk to HR before James does, but first I need to know that I'm in the right here. So am I the idiot for not being more accommodating of James' blood needle phobia and checking my blood sugar as needed at my desk? P.S. To clarify something, James cannot see me test my blood sugar unless he is literally standing in my doorway. It's not a communal-style workplace. I do not test in common areas, only in my office. Is your HR decent or incompetent? Because if they're decent, you should go in to talk to them, lay out what happened. Tell them exactly what you need to be able to check your sugar when needed in a convenient and sanitary space. And then say, "My needs and his are clearly in conflict. How do you propose we solve it?" That approach has the added advantage of you coming across as cool-headed, cooperative, and a problem solver, but mostly it means you clearly communicate your needs so you don't have to shoot down unworkable suggestions one by one. Not the idiot. Go to HR. Just knowing you're doing it makes him uncomfortable? He isn't making sense. Check your blood sugar at certain times. Oh look, it's 12 p.m. just in time for OP2 passes out. Not the idiot. Your blood sugar being too high or low could literally kill you. You did offer to compromise. You offered to warn him if you heard him coming over. The bathroom is not sanitary for checking blood sugar. Is he also going to ask HR to remove all the paper in case he gets a paper cut? Update. I'm really glad I posted. It gave me the reassurance I needed that I was doing the right thing going to HR. I took your guys' advice on how to approach the conversation with HR. I said that I and my coworker have conflicting medical needs and I could use advice on a solution that would work for both of us. The HR lady said that I have every right to continue to test my blood sugar in my office. When I told her that James suggested I test only at specific times of the day, her eyes got really big and she was like, "No. Do not test your blood sugar on a schedule suggested to you by your coworker. Only your doctor." Later HR spoke to James as well. Here's what we agreed to with HR. James is to call me on the phone before coming to my office. As in, "Hey, can I come to ask a question?" And I say sure and ensure I'm not checking my blood sugar at that moment. I cannot test my blood sugar in front of James. I wasn't doing this anyway. If James' phobia symptoms are triggered for whatever reason, he is entitled to a 10-minute break to let his symptoms subside, in addition to the normal breaks we all get. This system worked great for a week. One day he called as usual. I said sure, come over, but then he didn't come over. After about 10 minutes I actually needed to check my blood sugar, but thought with my luck he'd walk in at the exact moment I was testing. I ended up calling him back, and he said that he got distracted and forgot he had a question for me. A few days later it happened again, and I was a bit annoyed that twice I delayed testing because I thought he was going to be entering my office at any second. Soon after I found out that James had put in his 2-week notice. He explained that my being diabetic wasn't the only reason why he was quitting, he wanted different hours, etc., but that it did play a role. Later, Megan, our other coworker, told me that James told her that he really struggled with me being diabetic. For example, even just thinking, I need to ask a question, but I have to call first to make sure he's not checking his blood sugar was distressing to him, because then he'd be thinking about it, which would make him feel queasy and anxious. James has quit now. While I'm relieved that I don't have to feel like a leper at work anymore, I mostly just feel bad for James. It must be awful living with a phobia that severe, and I know he didn't choose to be that way. I hope he continues to see his therapist and can improve. So I guess this doesn't have a happy ending because ultimately we couldn't work it out and he quit. Good for your HR for supporting your testing schedule and for trying to find a way to make everyone comfortable. I do feel bad for James and hope he finds a way to manage his phobia. Wow. His phobia goes way beyond the normal abnormality. It must really be severe. If he can't work in an office where he knows that someone is diabetic, he's going to find it hard to maintain employment. Well, I'm glad that HR was so understanding of both sides and actually attempted to solve it for both of you. I'm sad to hear that he quit because of this, but maybe it's for the better. I hope he can get the help he needs to overcome this phobia, especially since it seems so severe that he couldn't work in the same place as someone who is diabetic. Let me preface this by saying that I, 24M, and my GF, 32F, who we'll call Liv, have been seeing each other for close to a year now. I've been living in a shared house with 8 blokes in a small 2x2 meters room that barely accommodates a single bed. This is the sole reason why she doesn't sleep at mine. I'm saving a lot on rent living here, even though the living conditions are poor. Now, I've been staying at my GF's house 4 nights a week for the past few months. Her beds are bigger for starters, and I can't cook at home because it's always congested, so Liv and I cook a meal twice a week at hers. She has a roommate who we'll call Bianca that she's known for quite a few years, and they get along fine. I've tried my best to get to know Bianca, but it's not reciprocated, and I can feel the awkward tension between us a mile away. She's never asked a question about what I do for work or anything of the like, and typically responds with one-word answers. Liv told me that Bianca feels very uncomfortable living with me. I hate being the cause of her discomfort. Whenever I'm at Liv's house, I don't use the living room and go straight to Liv's room whenever I arrive, usually late after work. Besides cooking with Liv, I'm usually mindful of my time spent in the bathroom. Here's where Liv and I may have screwed up. We were taking a shower together and took a bit longer than usual, 20-30 minutes. All of a sudden Bianca comes out of the room and slams the front door shut and sends Liv an angry text about taking too long and that she needed to use the bathroom and that she's selfish, etc. We both put ourselves in her situation and said we would have knocked on the bathroom door to ask us to hurry up if we were busting, but she's a bit more timid than we are. Their relationships have gone down the gutters since I came along, and I can't help but feel responsible. On an end note, Liv and I want to move in together within a few more months after her lease finishes, but for now, we're stuck in this predicament. My mates told me I'm an idiot for staying over 4 days a week rent-free, and I should respect the roommate's boundaries and not see her as frequently. But I see it as the next step before moving in together, that I'm only there at night, and it's normal for couples to see each other more frequently before they move in. So am I the idiot? You're the idiot, you've been there for most of the week for the last few months, you're a third roommate who doesn't pay rent, and she never agreed to it. You're the idiot. OP, she didn't agree to living with a couple. She didn't agree to living with a man she doesn't know. She didn't agree to pay for expenses that will 100% be increased with you using water and electricity. She didn't agree to having to share her private space and her free time with someone who contributes nothing to the household. You're the idiot. Having been the roommate in this situation, I know from experience how bad it is. You always feel like you're in the way of the couple and you don't feel comfortable in your own home. Taking over the bathroom is just one of many problems the roommate is forced to deal with, despite the fact that she's the one paying rent.